I've shown people these paintings, they have been very intrigued. I'm incredibly nervous. Will they enjoy the performance? The exhibition is it's a series of 11 canvases, and they represent an evening of cabaret performances from curtain up to finale. And it starts with a painting called Willkommen, which is the only one which references a kind of known, accepted, popular idea of what cabaret is, in that it depicts someone who looks very like the Joel Grey character from Bob Fosse's film Cabaret. In that painting, he is opening a curtain to reveal some lovely lady legs, which gives you the idea that you're entering into a world of cabaret that you anticipate. But then, once the performances begin, you find that it's not quite what you're anticipating, not quite what you expected.
Do you know, I think this is just about the best venue it could possibly have come to. It's like a promenade, isn't it? As you come through from the first painting of Peter lifting the curtain, and then you walk along here past these almost windows into the life of the cabaret. I think that's how I see it. And the National Theatre is the perfect place, absolutely the perfect place.
I think it's a remarkable good fortune actually to be showing there. I really had no idea where to show them until somebody said in a throwaway fashion, why don't you go have a go at the National Theatre? And I walked in and found that they had the perfect space. They had that they had one long wall, which it's almost as though someone had made a space for these paintings, oddly. The space enables me to show the paintings in sequence, to fully give people the sense that they are witnessing an evening's cabaret show. This is my studio. It's a space that I've been in for about 6 years now. It's a strange thing because obviously you're never quite aware how much of it is you and how much you've become part of a space that you're so accustomed to. I don't do preparatory drawings for paintings, and I tend not to plan things in a formal way. It's more that I gather things and I read about things, and I'm quite voracious about information and ideas, and particularly visual information. So this painting is called Greta Nina van Elben's Tingle-Tangle machine, and this was the first painting that I knew I would do when I started researching this project. The first thing that I did was to read this book, Berlin Cabaret by Peter Jelovich, and I discovered this incredible thing, which was Greta Nina van Elben's Tingle-Tangle machine. A Tingle-Tangle was a kind of cabaret, almost like a kind of subgroup of cabaret that was very popular. And this contraption was built by the two sisters so that they could attach it to themselves and dance and emulate and satirize the chorus line girls of the day, like the Tiller girls and the Bluebell girls and so on. Somehow it suggests something about the image of a woman being replicated over and over again, and being repeated, because there is something very, very compelling about those chorus line girls, but at the same time quite reductive the way that they're all exactly the same, they're all identical. So I thought, I know I'm going to do this painting, I know that I'm going to paint the Tingle-Tangle machine, but I thought, where do you get a Tingle-Tangle machine these days? So I built one out of foam board and doweling. I would imagine that if somebody had the will to do so, they could probably perform with it, and that's something I'd like to see. I began these paintings 4 years ago yesterday. And if I'd known that's how long it will take, and this is what you'll have to do, and this is how you'll achieve it, it may not have happened.
I got to know her just as a friend, and then one day she rang and said, would you sit for a picture? And she came to chat about this whole series that she was planning, and that's how it happened. The process was the Mrs. Thing, whose name I can never remember, Mrs. Powell. Roxana said, I want you to be the grand dame of the cabaret. So Mrs. Powell is sort of all-powerful. I don't think she's... so one is playing a part. It's not a portrait in any way, you're playing a part. And I think she's not, don't think she's got any evil intent, but she is all-powerful and you wouldn't want to cross her. So we'd just have long chats about that, but also long chats about ourselves and our lives and so on. And then the painting would start. And Roxana put me on a high stool on top of a table so that she could look up and get the right angle. But she made that puppet theatre that's inside my skirts. She's a wonder. She can do anything.
Without knowing her well, she asked Katrina and I if we would sit for one of her paintings, and we instantly agreed, really without knowing very much about what was entailed and what would the final outcome be. Because I'm not wearing very much, I've just got pretty much a hat and braces, so slightly unsure about how that would turn out, but I'm just delighted with the result.
I mean, it was a wonderful experience. It was a bit like going to therapy. It was about 3 months, and we'd go for 2 or 3 hours at a time, 2 or 3 times a week. And she always sets you up with a cup of tea and a little chat. First of all, she has a spectacular collection of music, so she would ask, what shall we listen to today? And then she just let me drivel on about what sort of day I'd had, and it all seemed such ease for her. You know, she didn't even stand that close to the canvas, the paintbrush almost at arm's length, and let me dribble away, and it was just wonderful. It was therapeutic for me, it was exciting for me, and then the results when you walk around the front of the canvas to see the results was just breathtaking.
It was quite funny because when my mum saw it and she saw the kind of lack of top, shall I say, Roxana, to preempt that, Roxana made a little kind of pretend stick-on sort of bra for when to prepare my mum for the painting, so that was quite nice. So she's always very thoughtful.
I don't know. Roxana chose the clothes and stuff to I suppose suit how her vision of me, perhaps. But it's really funny because I always get asked to play the role of a 1950s kind of very kitsch mom. And so that really reminds me of all the roles that I've ever played, and I can't imagine why. But that's me, I guess.
Very often some of the ideas that I've been most excited by have just occurred, almost like a kind of magic. But it isn't, because your mind is developing these things. Your subconscious is doing the preparatory work without your knowledge often. Maybe that's somehow, I see that as being at the core of our experience somehow. Ambivalence. Nothing is so cut and dried in life, and I don't think it should be necessarily in painting. It can pull you in different ways.